I found out my brother made up the crime that ruined my life. I was 17 when my whole world collapsed. Back then, I thought I was just an unlucky kid who got caught up in something I didn't do, but years later I learned the truth. That my own brother had lied, and that lie cost me everything. It started one night after school. I was sitting in my room playing games when I heard my mom yelling from the kitchen. Her voice had that sharp edge to it, the one she used when she was scared. I came out and saw two cops standing by the door, and my mom looked pale. They asked for me by name. They didn't even look confused, like they already knew I was the one. "You're under arrest for breaking and entering," one of the cops said while pulling out the cuffs. I froze. I didn't even understand what he meant at first. Breaking and entering? I'd never even been inside anyone's house without permission in my life. What? That's a mistake. I didn't do anything, I said, looking at my mom, expecting her to back me up. But my mom just shook her head like she didn't know what was happening. And my older brother, Daniel, who was standing in the corner, didn't say a word. He just stared at the floor. I begged them to let me explain, but they dragged me out in front of the neighbors. It was humiliating. I was thrown into the back of the car, and everything after that happened fast: the holding cell, the questioning, the trial. At my trial, the worst part wasn't even the cops or the lawyers. It was when the prosecution called a witness who claimed he saw me running out of a house with stolen stuff. And when I turned my head and saw who it was, my own brother, my whole body went cold. He stood there, calm as anything, and said, "Yeah, I saw him. He was the one. He had the bag." I wanted to scream. I wanted to run up there and shake him. Instead, I sat there in shock, staring at him like maybe I was dreaming. My lawyer whispered, "Don't react, it'll look bad." But what could look worse than your own brother pointing at you and saying you did it? I was sentenced to 3 years. 3 years in a juvenile facility, locked away from my friends, my girlfriend, my school. 3 years of missing birthdays, Christmas, freedom. And those 3 years weren't easy. I got into fights, I was jumped, I was treated like trash by guards who already thought I was guilty. I remember one guard saying, "You kids think you can just break into people's homes and take whatever you want. Now you'll learn." Every time I laid in that hard bed at night, I thought about Daniel. Why would he do that to me? I thought maybe he made a mistake, maybe he was pressured. But he never visited me, not once. My mom came sometimes, but she always avoided talking about him. When I got out, I was 20. I had no diploma, no friends left, no future. My girlfriend had moved on. People still whispered when they saw me in the neighborhood. It was like I had a stamp on my forehead that said, "Criminal." I tried to work, but everywhere I went they asked about my record. "Sorry, we can't hire someone with that background," they said. Even though I explained it was years ago, even though I swore I didn't do it, no one cared. One night, I confronted Daniel. I went into his room while he was watching TV. "Why do you lie about me?" I asked. My voice was shaking, but I stood my ground. He looked up, annoyed. "What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. You said I broke into that house. You ruined my life." He scoffed. "You're still on about that? You got caught. Face it." "I didn't get caught," I shouted. "You made it up." "I know you did. You were the only one who could have said that." "Why? What did I do to you?" My mom came in, telling us to stop yelling. "Enough, both of you," she said, but I ignored her. Daniel got defensive. "You were always the favorite. You think you were so good, always better than me." He stopped himself and looked away. That was the closest I got to the truth then. He couldn't even finish his sentence. For years, I carried that weight. I worked crappy jobs, I lived in a cheap apartment, and every time I tried to date someone, the past always came up. "Why were you locked up?" people asked. And I hated answering, but the real breaking point came much later, at a family dinner. We hadn't all been in the same room in years. My mom was sick, and we were trying to have a normal night for her. Halfway through, Daniel got drunk. He slammed his glass down and said, "Fine. You all want the truth? It was me. I did it. I broke into that house. I stole the stuff. But the cops were looking at me, and I panicked." "Okay?" I said it was him. The whole table went silent. My mom gasped, covering her mouth. I just stared at him. All those years, the fights, the pain, the lost time, it all came crashing back. You ruined my life, I whispered. Daniel looked at me, eyes glazed over. I said I panicked. What do you want me to do now? You could have said the truth at any point, I shouted. You let me rot in there for 3 years while you just walked around free. Do you have any idea what that did to me? He didn't answer. He just sat there, staring at his empty plate. My mom started crying, begging us to stop fighting, but it was too late. Nothing could fix what happened. Daniel confessed, yeah, but by then, I was already broken. My life was already permanently damaged. And the worst part? Even after he said it out loud, even after my mom heard it with her own ears, nothing changed. I was still the one with the record. I was still the one people whispered about. I was still the one who lost everything. All because my own brother made up a crime, and everyone believed him.